My name is Jason.
My name is Tom.
And this is a comic strip AP of Monster of the Week featuring the story of Robert Larousse. And when we last saw Robert, he had just acquired, quite by chance, a really helpful lead regarding the current mystery, which is some people from a school called the Lombardi School were also researching the head of St. Catherine of Siena. And that just seems awfully coincidental considering it just went missing. So that seems like a pretty good lead, Robert. After you leave that priest's office, where do you go? What do you do?
I guess my first question to you, just as the MC, is do we need to make a thing of finding the Lombardi School, or can we just assume that that's easy to...
Nah, I mean, even if you had never heard of it before, a cursory investigation will tell you that the Lombardi School is... its full title is the Lombardi School for Exceptionally Talented Young Women. It is a school where young people who are musicians, dancers, artists, that sort of thing, go to further master their craft. So,
okay, in that case, I think I know what I'm going to do. At this point, many, perhaps most investigators would go and use a library of some kind and look up stuff, or they might, come up with a pretext to walk in broad daylight and make an appointment. But I'm going to address this not just the best way I know how, some might say the only way, which is to dress to dress entirely in black, including a roll-neck sweater, take to the nocturnal rooftops, and cat-like break into the school and see what I can glean.
So the school is located in the middle of the city. It's actually located in a residential district, so there are apartments and houses nearby, and it is by itself in a freestanding building that is surrounded by a high stone wall and a metal, with sort of metal spiked ornamentation along the wall, and there's a gate. And in the front there is a courtyard with hedge trimmed into the shapes of animals and the Michelangelo and that sort of thing, right? And then it's maybe 2 or 3 stories in total. So that's the stuff you can glean just from a very casual walk around the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of checking things out. What's your next step then?
So it being separate from the other buildings represents something of an obstacle, which means that, contrary to my preferences, I think I have to go in from the ground level. Just a quick,
Possibly, yeah. If you're kind of checking that out, I mean, it sounds like you are. Just do read a bad situation.
Sure. Okay, so I'm at +2 sharp. That is a 10.
Wonderful. Since this is the first time we've done this move, I'll just read it really quickly. When you look around and read a bad situation, roll +sharp. On a 10+, you're going to hold 3, and you can spend those hold to ask questions from this list. Do you have that list handy?
Yes, I do. Okay, so I think I will kick off with what is my best way in, and maybe I'll hold on to the other 2 for the moment. Let's start there.
Sure. So I mentioned that it is, the building has 3 stories, okay? It looks like the school probably has about maybe at any given time 40 to 50 students, okay, based on the number of rooms you kind of see around. Most of them are closed up, but one of the windows, though, you see is just freely hanging open, and a draft has caught the curtain, and the curtain is kind of billowing out a little bit, so you could easily just scamper up the wall. Once you get past the outer wall, you could easily scamper up and go in there.
Okay, I will head for that then. I've brought a dark, soft, but just long enough rope that I can haul over the back wall and use to scale.
Indeed, of course. So I think jumping the wall is easy. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're inside the interior wall. Are you going to just make straight for that window or what?
To the degree that a cat burglar can make directly for anything, yes. I'm not going to kind of...
Sounds good.
Yeah, moving from shrubbery to tree to floral border to whatever else they have around here.
Give me an act under pressure. I think this is a good place to do act under pressure.
Sure.
That's going to be plus cool.
That's good, which is +1 for me. So.
And you get a +1 for following up too.
Oh, that is true. So. Merely a 9.
Okay. So on a 9, the keeper's going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. So scampering up with your perfectly sized rope, your perfect length rope, no problem. You could throw a little hook up or whatever, get up there, easy peasy. One thing you're going to notice, though, is just as you are maybe getting right up to the like the threshold of the window, you can kind of get up there and kind of crouch on it, right? It's a pretty big window, big arched window. You will notice that there is a security guard down below, apparently doing his rounds, and he's coming around the corner and is definitely going to see you pulling that rope in if you're not careful. What do you do?
I think I will remain motionless and hope that he just doesn't see the rope, because if it doesn't move, then it's just a shadow, right?
I think that's fair, yeah. Give me another act under pressure with another +1.
Okay. +2. That is a 10.
Awesome. That's going to go great. You will get inside this room that you've snuck up into without the security guard noticing you. Just kind of give me the scene, like kind of paint the picture for us. What does it look like?
So it's noticeably silent, I think. There's no background music in the movie version, and it's just a black figure silhouetted against the moonlight streaming in through the window. Neither slowly nor hurriedly, just pushes the window frame open. It makes a slight creak, and then the hand stops, and then proceeds again, realizing that no one has heard it. And said black-clad figure, which I should reiterate is me, steps into the room.
Awesome. So the room you're in appears to be like a dormitory room. There are 2 beds. On one of the beds, there is a young woman underneath the covers asleep. The other, the covers are pulled back and there's no one sleeping in it. It looks like this person maybe got up to go use the bathroom or who knows what. But whoever they are, they're still around, right? They're definitely not in their bed asleep. It seems like they probably should be. But that's something to perhaps worry about in the future. You are in the building. What do you do? And I'll remind you, you still have 2 more questions from Read a Bad Stitch.
Okay, now is a good time to ask, are there any dangers I haven't noticed? I think as I get out of this dormitory room quite quickly, I don't need to hang around here.
Yeah. So let's say you step out of the room and you are in, I think you're on the 2nd story, we'll say, and there's a hallway with, it's kind of a long, narrow hall with doors at various intervals, little console tables with vases and pictures and things like that. And the hallway goes out to, kind of like goes off in 2, obviously in 2 different directions. And you can see on one end it goes to like a grand staircase that kind of looks like it leads down to a more central main area in the building, right? The question is, are there any dangers you haven't noticed? Yes, I think there is. In fact, I think just ahead of, in one of the directions you can go, there is what appears to be like the bathroom. It's like a common bathroom that is probably shared by all the students on this floor, or possibly just maybe in this wing or whatever. You see a light on, and you see and hear like motion. Like the door is kind of cracked, and you can see someone moving around in the light, and you can hear like the faucets being turned on. You hear the faucet coming on. You hear the faucet going off, and maybe like the sound of hands being dried, and someone is definitely stepping back into the hallway at this moment. What do you do?
This seems like a good time to make a sharp exit away from the grand... I don't think grand staircases are my scene. I'm looking for perhaps something like an administrative office, or perhaps more likely the headmaster or mistress's study.
Just give me an act under pressure to sort of generally get away from out of the sight of this person who's about to come into the hallway, so you can kind of continue your investigation unmolested.
7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay, so let me think about it for a moment. You can very easily slip out of this hallway, no problem, and that person who's in the bathroom who's about to come out will not see you, and it's no big deal at all. The problem is going to be when you round the corner, going in the, I assume, in the opposite direction, in the direction that you can kind of most, round a corner that you can, not be seen in. When you round the corner, you'll see like it looks like a big Saint Bernard in the hall, with its tongue hanging out, not barking, not going crazy, just looking like really delighted and happy to see you. And he was kind of laying down. He pops his big, huge, medicine ball sized head, up, and his, kind of hanging slobbery jowls. You can kind of see, like, in the ambient light, the slobber dribbling down onto the carpet. And you can see that, like, he's a little bleary-eyed still, and maybe gonna get up and, come up and approach you and, just do whatever big friendly dogs do. You've basically got a choice here. You can cope with this dog, or you can cope with that person around the corner.
I'm not a dog person. The clue is in the phrase "cat burglar," so I'm gonna.
Indeed.
I'm gonna stick with the noctambulist student, I think, which is what I think it is.
Okay, well, so what's your approach here? I mean, I assume you're gonna, like, not try to scare them or whatever, right?
No, I'm gonna attempt a conspiratorial friendliness with a kind of pressing a single finger to the lips with a quiet.
Indeed.
I won't tell anyone if you don't.
Indeed. The person comes out. It's a young woman. She's wearing a nightgown. She's got kind of like brown hair, kind of shoulder length, and it's kind of pulled back. And she sees you, and she kind of like, she sees you making your motion of like, please don't say anything, like shush. And she kind of looks at you like kind of wide-eyed, and then like points like at her room, like to indicate the window, and makes a little gesture like as if to say, did you just come in through the window? And you get the impression that maybe the reason why she's not freaking out right now is because she's probably not supposed to be walking around either, right?
I think so.
Like, because as she left, she was kind of acting like, she was kind of looking around. You could see her looking around the corner to make sure no one could hear her, like roaming around or whatever. Looks like she was getting up to something too. And she kind of steps up to you really carefully, and she whispers. She says, and you immediately pick up on the fact that she's American, actually, her accent. She says, Are you here to burgle the place? Are you here to, like, steal things, or what? What's going on?
Me, young lady? Steal things? From a girls' boarding school? With my reputation? I think you must be mistaken.
What do you mean, your reputation?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm here to steal things.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm going to go back to my room, and I can just pretend like I never saw you or any of this happen. That's one option. Or another option could be I could run and grab the security guard. That's an option. Or you could take me with you, because this sounds like...
Oh, dear Lord.
Something of an adventure, right?
Yeah, okay, what is she wearing?
Just a nightgown.
Yeah, a bright white nightgown that's gonna... Okay. I would love to take you with me, but unfortunately I think you're inappropriately dressed.
Okay, I'll rephrase that. The first and second options weren't actually available. I want you to take me with you. You can't... Are you crazy? Like, I'm going nuts in this place. Like, this is the most exciting thing that's happened in weeks. Like, come on, you've got to let me... I can show you where everything is. This is going to be great. I can be like your sidekick.
Yes, this is sounding very attractive as a proposition, but please go and change into some kind of dark clothing.
She says, I've got it. Hold on, just stay right here. Stay right here. And then she dives into the room. You can hear the dog. You can hear the dog coming around the corner, like lumbering around the corner. And she's kind of there, like, doing her thing or whatever. And she's taking a little while.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling impatient. I think what I will do is disappear, but I'm actually I am gonna wait for her, but just out of sight of any large friendly dogs.
Indeed. Do an act under pressure. This will be fun. See if it goes badly.
That is 7-8.
Okay, so she steps out of the hallway. She is dressed in what appears to be like a dark gray leotard, like a dancer's, like a practice uniform or something, right? She steps out. She's got dance shoes on, so she's kind of dressed for the occasion, right? She's not going to make a lot of noise.
It's better than I expected, to be honest.
Right, indeed. And she steps out, and as she does so, the dog comes around the corner, and like his eyes, like you can see his like black glittering eyes in this sort of like ambient light in the hallway, and his mouth just gets like really wide, and she's like, oh shit. she's like, quick, do you have something like candy or just anything at all? And she's like, we just gotta get out of here, come on. Hi, this is Jason from the Gauntlet Gaming Community. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, please consider supporting the Gauntlet on Patreon. Our page can be found at patreon.com/gauntlet.